Hello guys, welcome to Holatech. Today we are going to solve the Leetcode problem number 290, that is word pattern. So let's understand what is the problem statement is. This is a asked in most of the companies recently, very recently, especially in product based companies in India. Okay, and yeah, let's jump into the problem statement. So they have given you an pattern and a string s. Find if s follows the same pattern. Okay, as it says here, and here follows means full match, as there is an bisection between a letter in pattern. A non-empty word is s. So basically they are saying like they will be giving you a pattern as and a string. We need to find, are they matching it? Cool. Are there any constraint? Are they given any conditions saying like we need to solve it in a o of n or o of n square, that kind of restrictions, right? As you can see, they have not mentioned anything. That means we can solve in any of the approaches which we are comfortable with. Cool. So let's understand some constraint which they are given here. So pattern length can be 1 to 3000. Pattern contains only lowercase English letters. Okay, this is the pattern and it can contain only lowercase letters. And s contains only lowercase English letters, that is means the string only lowercase. Okay, so we don't need to worry about while writing a program whether it's uppercase lowercase. Okay, and s does not contain any leading or trailing spaces. So means there is no leading, means there are no prefix space in the prefix and r suffix. Okay, all the words in s are separated by single space, means they are pretty much sure that they are always separated by single space. So by looking at this, and if you see the history of our problem which we solved, so you might be understood like when to use the hash map and when to use a pointer, right? So by now, by looking at this problem, so with what comes to our mind is basically an hash map, because we need to find a pattern mapping, right? As we can see here, we need to map the key pattern by an string. So now let's understand the problem by this pattern which I'm written here. Okay, so what it that means, like when they given a pattern like this. Okay, let me annotate. This is a pattern, I say it pattern, and this is a string. Okay, and everything is spaced by, separated by space. So basically now what that means is a is pointing to the first word, that is dog. Okay, and if b is pointing to cat, right, again b should be pointing to cat itself, right? And again a is already we have it, and what it should be pointing to, it should be pointing to dog. Okay, in this case we need to return it as true. Cool. What if in another cases where when we should return false, right? As you can see, a is pointing to dog, correct, and b is pointing to cat. Again b should be pointing to cat, right? We have it. And also we need to make sure the length of pattern, right, if you separate it by space, both of this, it should be same, correct? Then only we can say it is true. That's another base condition. Okay, and a should be pointing to what? Currently what it is pointing? Dog, right? Again it should be pointing to dog, but unfortunately here it's not pointing, correct? So now what we can say this one as, we can say as false. Okay, hope you guys able to understand the problem statement. Now let's write a pseudo code for this by looking at this, and so that we can jump into the Leetcode platform later, correct? So how we can write a code, right? So as I said, I'm going to use a hash map to map the key and values. Okay, now let's say there's a function. Sorry, let me take the black color here. Okay, there is a function. I'm writing a program in Kotlin. So the guys whoever want in different language, you can just try to replicate on your own. And very sorry about that, I'm not able to write in another platform. I'm good at Java also, but unfortunately I'm not going to use it during programming. Okay, solving this kind of problems. Cool. Now we can say is valid pattern. Okay, and call the function name is valid. Okay, what are the parameters it's going to take? It's going to take the pattern, and which is of type string, correct? And we have a string, right? So that is, I'm going to annotate as yes. And this is also, currently they are given it as string. Let's take as it is, and it should return a boolean. Okay, boolean. Cool. Now we are able to write this function, correct? So now what we should do, we need to, as they mentioned, they always going to give you uh, the pattern and the string always separated by spaces. So what we need to do now, so string is contains contains multiple words. So what we can do, we need to split that into an array. I can say it as a words. I take it as a var, and I name it as a words array, right? This is equal to, I'm going to split the test into dot split. Okay, split by the space. Okay, and you need to convert into typed array. This is especially for Kotlin. In another language you can directly convert into an array. Okay, and name it as split typed array. Cool. Now once you convert into, you got that array of strings, that is cat, dog, fish, everything. Okay, now what we should do, we have to iterate through the array of this pattern and the word. Cool. Let's iterate. Cool. Now here for I in 0 until what size of, we can take either a pattern or we can take a yes. There's a base condition as well here. Let me write it over somewhere here, saying like if yes dot length, wait, not as word. So yeah, I can say if pattern dot length is not equals to words dot size, means array size, and pattern size is not equal, we should basically return as false. Okay, this is a base condition. What if in other cases, what we should do, we should iterate through the array for I in 0 until say yes. I can take it as a, not yes, I'm going to take it as a words dot size. Okay, throughout the array I'm going to iterate. So now what we should do, we should take another variable, that is hash map. Let me write that hash map also and delete this line of code. Cool. Now I deleted, and we should take a hash map, correct? Now maybe I need to move this line of code. Let me move it so it's somewhat looking very clumsy, right? And yeah, this is fine. Now what I can do, wait a second, I have this one, right? I'll move this also little bit down and do it. I'll select this wait a second, how can I move this entire sentence? Copy. Okay, I moved it here, and I'll take this also and I'll move it somewhere here. Oh wait, it copied other characters also. Let me reselect one more time. Cool. Okay, this is a pseudocode I'm writing here to make you guys to understand. Cool. Now what I should do, I also need to add an hash map here, one variable that is going to be like var map. I can directly say it as a map. Map is equal to hash map dot, what is that I'm going to store is the, I can say keep, I can name it as a characters. Okay, and value will be string because the word will be in the string format. Okay, now once we have this ready, we should iterate to the array. Now in case if we find if hash map contains, right, I name it a map, right, map dot, if it is contains, if contains what, some key, contains a key, say contains a key, I can call it say key, what is that, the first one, yes of, sorry, pattern of, I can say pattern of I. If it contains, if that patterns contains this key, and or maybe I can say instead of contains, I can directly say it as, take that thing, get a value, and I can say it as contains a value itself. We get a value for this key. Okay, and yeah, first I can check if it contains, if not contains, I can go to that condition. Anything is fine, let's do it contains itself. If it contains a key, we can go ahead and start adding, get that value first, right? If map dot get a value for that key, that is pattern of I. Okay, get that value and check is equals to what is that, words of I, correct? So for this key, if this value is correct, okay, if it is not equals, is equals this, right? And in case instead of equals I can say if it not equal, what I should do is, as I explained here, this a of, say for this is the pattern of I and this is the words of I, if they are not equal, what I should do, directly return false, as I mentioned here, right? As you can see, this is a pattern of I and this is a words of I, and if they are not equal, I'm going to return as false. So let's jump into the code. So here we are in the code. If it is not equals, what I should do, basically I should return it as false. Okay, I'm going to delete this and I'm going to mark it as not equals and I'm going to return it as false. Cool, directly I will return it. This is if. What in case of else, what we should do basically? So in case of else, right, what we should do, map again in the map, basically we need to check, say if it is contains a value, right, again here it should do a, if it contains a value, right? For example, if we are storing, let me zoom it again. If this a is, if value is there in the map, right? If that value is there and key is not there, what does that means? We are mapping a wrong one. So what I'm trying to say is, let me annotate with a different color. Okay, what I'm saying is, say at a, right? Let's take this example at a, not this one. Yeah, so let's take another example itself. Say there is a, not a b b a, and they given you dog, dog, and dog, okay, and the dog, right? And when you map a to dog, and again you are trying to map dog to the b, right? It's a wrong, correct? So what we should do in this case, basically we should return immediately false. So that's what I should write a code for that. Okay, in that condition, say if there is a value exists already, right? If that value exists, means key is different, definitely I should return false. Cool. If, say, if contains a key pattern, if not contains a key, I need to check contains a value, right? If contains a value, contains a value, that is s of I should return false, false, correct? Makes sense? We should return it false here. So in other case, what we should do basically, if else, right? Here we should add to the map. This is a fresh data, so we should add dot, what is the key here? That is pattern of I, and what is the value we should put? S of I. Okay, and this is the program, guys. In other case, when everything is, none of this is a false, right? We should return it as false. Sorry, if everything is true, we should return it as true. Okay, cool. Hope you guys able to understand clearly. Now I will explain you guys one more time in the Leetcode platform. So in case if you guys didn't understand, don't worry, I'm going to explain you guys in the Leetcode platform now. Same code I'm going to write it over in the, so now let's write to quickly in the this Leetcode platform the same code. Okay, this is like, I need to take words hash map, so words as a array, that is split this one by spaces, and I can name it as to type the array. So this is about Kotlin syntax, so don't worry about like why I'm converting to type the array. Okay, basically to limit the storage. If you use array list, definitely it's going to have an extra the threshold which is of 15 length. If you have an array, so it will be limited size, whatever the size available, that much size it will be stored. So now base condition, right? If words dot size not equals to pattern dot length, so I should say return false. Cool. Now let's take a hash map where I can take it as a map here, and I can say hash map of, it's a very simple problem, guys. Don't get confused or don't get scared. Okay, you should practice 2 to 3 times every week, right? And you start feeling like every easy problem is like you can able to solve this within the span of time. Okay, it doesn't even require you 30 minutes during the intro process. Cool. So I added this, took a hash map over here for I in 0 until what is this. I can say s dot length, no, not s dot length. S dot length gives a character count. We need a word count, that is s dot size. So here we need to check that map dot contains a, if it contains a key, what we should do basically, what is that key, pattern of I. If that contains, if it is true, what we should do basically, if contains that key, right, we get that, we should get a value, map dot get a value for the pattern key, and if that value is equals to s of I, if not equals, I can immediately return as false. Okay, in other cases we just continue it. Okay, here in this other cases we continue. How about this else if not contain, should add to the hash map, right? So as I mentioned here, I'm going to store the hash map. I think I forgot to mention you some more details over here. So a is mapped to dog and b is mapped to, in this case let's say b is you're trying to map to dog, this is a wrong. Okay, and if you take other example over here, a is mapped to dog, right, and if you take here and here, and in case of b is mapped to cat, right, and again b is mapped to cat. So this is not going to be stored in the hash map, only unique keys are stored, right? So even though if you try to store multiple times, it's going to store the unique values, correct? That's what in the code I'm writing it over here. If not contains, we should add it to the hash map. That how are we going to add it? Hash map, again here also we can check it. Map dot if contains a value, right? If there is a value of s of I, as I wrote this here in the line, right, in the pseudo code while explaining, if contains this value, right, we should return false. This line I was talking about, right, when it is contains a value, if nothing is there, but there may be a chance, right, we are trying to add a duplicate value. Why we need that line of code? As you can see, when we are going with this example, basically when this ABB, let me write that clearly for understanding purpose. Let me remove this. What is that statement is given? That is ABBA, right? As you can see, A is mapping to A is mapping here, and the B is also mapping to dog, right? Both are trying to mapping to dog. But when we try mapping it, and if you find the same value in the map, say for example dog you're trying to map, before adding this to the map, first check is there a value contains. When we are at this index, right, if this value is already exist, right, in the map, we can say like okay exist. So if that exists and the key is different here, right, keys are different, value is not the same, key is not the same, key is not same. If an key is same, definitely it goes to this line, correct? When key is not same and it comes to this line, correct, in else condition, and we try to check the value. If value is not right, so immediately we can say it as you can say it as return as false. So that's a line of code I am writing it over here. If it is not, say if it contains a value, I should return it as false. Else I need to add it to the map dot put pattern of I in the s of I. Cool. Now let's submit this code and see. Hope we didn't make any syntax errors. Okay, there is an error, and at line number 20 also there is an error. Pattern, what we taken as a pattern, Okay, let's pattern update the pattern and contains a key. Map dot contains a key. Where is map here? And yeah, I think, is there any character mistakes we did it? No, right? Yes. What is yes here? Oh, this is words. We should not be taking a yes here. This is all words. Okay, that's it. Let's see if there are any other. Okay, I think we forgot to return the statements at the end. Return true if everything is as I said, right? In this line of code we are going to return true. This is the line of code over here. Let's submit it now. All right, it's submitted successfully. So let me walk you through this problem once again, and the pseudocode also. As you guys able to see here, uh, patterns are mapped with the patterns are mapped with the keys, right? That values in the given string. First, what we should do, basically we should convert this into an typed array and map the key pattern to the key pattern we consider as a keys, and yes, we consider as a values. Okay, if key already there, right, then we should compare the values. If current value and the keys matching, map value is equal, so we should return it as continue. If not equals, we return it as false. If it is equals, we should continue. In case hash map doesn't contains, and if contains a value, in this case like where I was saying, so in that case basically we should return it as false, else we need to put it to the map. Means there's no value and there's no key exist in the hash map. In that case basically we should add it to the hash map. Okay, this is the one. Cool. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you guys are able to understand this. In case if you have a doubt or any clarification, feel free to write in the comment box. For any kind of a video if you want, and any suggestions if you have, feel free to write that also in the comment box, so that I can take your feedback and improve my videos. Cool. Thank you once again. Bye bye. Stay tuned for the more such videos.